Hey there YouTube, this is Anthony bringing you another video. The 5-gallon Fluval Spec is all rescaped. It's hard to get a good angle for a camera shot in this corner, so I didn't have a process for you. But we'll talk about a little bit of what I did, and I'll give you a little update on the 8-gallon too, so stay tuned. Alright, so first things first, let's give a quick update on this tank. This is the 8-gallon Cobalt tank. I just went through a rescape about a week and a half ago. I let the tank kind of sit and settle, let the plants start growing before I added the fish back in. Part of that is because I did change out the substrate, so I wanted to give that a bit of time to settle. So I've got the cycled sponge back on the power head, and as you can see, the white cloud minnows are still swimming back to swimming around in this tank. I have left out the shrimp for now, mainly for two reasons. One, because everything's been switched around, there's not much for them to graze on, and I don't want to be dumping too much food into this tank just to give it a little more time to establish gradually. And two, I'm hoping the white clouds will spawn a little bit before I add the shrimp in there. And maybe I can get a few more baby white clouds going in this tank. But once it's been about maybe 2-3 weeks time, then maybe I'll stick the shrimp back in this tank. That'll give time for any eggs that they lay to hatch. I cannot talk today. And so in the meantime, the shrimp are just sitting in a little rubber tub, plastic tub in the meantime, with a little bit of cycle media, and that way I can kind of feed them separately in there and kind of take care of them and let them settle down for a bit. Alright, so that's what's been going on with this tank. Let's move on to the 5-gallon spec. Alright, so as far as changes in this tank, the most notable thing is going to be the driftwood. There were 2 smaller pieces in this tank before, and I chose to swap them out for a much larger piece. And the reason for that is I wanted to add a few more epiphyte type plants in here. I kept the Anubias that I had in this tank, and also added one from the other tank. And I also chose to put in the fern windelov in this tank that I had in one of my holding tanks, as opposed to the trident fern. I was starting to notice, since it was picking up growth, that it was getting too big for this tank. So I went ahead and switched that out of here. The one great thing that came from this rescape is that my Cryptocoryne Parva had grown so much that I was able to break it apart and redistribute it along the bottom. I most likely have double the amount that I had when I first planted in this tank. And when it comes to the livestock that was in this tank, I did take out the ember tetras. Right now they're in the breeder box with my Fluvial fry. I'm most likely going to stick them into the 40 breeder. Still not quite decided on that yet, but that's most likely where they're going to go. And as far as the shrimp, they will be going right back into this tank. I did let it settle out for about a day or two, but since I did not change the substrate in this tank, it's still got all the beneficial bacteria, and there's still areas for them to graze on, so they'll be going back in. Alright, so I've been acclimating the shrimp to the water in this tank just to make sure. We'll go ahead and release them now, and with that I'll say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.